Hi, it's Robert Redfern again. Our little Thursday get-together. I just finished the newsletter, and the newsletter's going out this evening. I'm not going to go over the newsletter too much. I'm going to take one little thing from the newsletter, which is a testimonial from a customer. And the idea of this is I just want you to know really how serious a condition can be helped if people really stick to the plan and live a healthy life and get a healthy life in place. Now I just want to talk about lies, damn lies, and CV. Of course, CV, I cannot mention the name because everything's getting banned. Even Google has banned any mention of anything that contradicts with the World Health Organization. I've told you before now, the World Health Organization used to be a really good organization. They were looking after the health of nations. They were advising on the diet, things missing from the diet. Now it's just a front organization for Big Pharma. And so anything that comes out of the mouth of World Health Organization, you have to take with a pinch of salt. But of course, they've got Google to ban anybody that contradicts. And if a person says that CV can be helped with vitamin C IV, they're banned. Simple as that, from anything on Google. That includes YouTube, as you know. Anyway, just running over the news on CV, the death rate in the UK is still the same as, and I suspect it's the same in all countries actually. You can't tell by the media, but you have to look at the statistics, which governments do publish, the bean count as I call them. And so still we're at an average death rate of the previous 5 years. So nothing's changing really at all. When they say all these people are dying, they're just saying all these people are dying. Well, of course, you could say that every year. I could say it every day, every week, every month. All these people are dying. Yes, they are. All these people are dying doesn't mean to say lots more people are dying. They're not saying that. You're very careful with their words, the media. Either the media are fronts for the Big Pharma, or they are just terrorists. You know, they just want to terrorize people. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so it's a same average. I have people that contact me, followers. You know, they follow this, they follow my newsletters, they follow my emails. And many work in hospitals, some in the undertakers' departments, mortuaries, and they tell me that business is normal or slow. Everybody's confused, you see, the people that work in this, people that work in hospitals, the ordinary people, the doctors, for some reason, they feel they have to say people are dying with coronavirus. Now, I notice I said with coronavirus and not from coronavirus. So they're very careful in the UK. Now, in the USA, I've noticed, I think it was the governor of New York, and he said that people are dying from coronavirus, which is unusual because he leaves himself open to being challenged in the courts with that. And I hope some wealthy people do get around to that. And talk, you know, hospitals, undertakers, mortuaries, business is normal or slow. Now, they've turned some of our big exhibition centres into hospitals, and I know this has happened in the USA because I know a lot of the exhibition centres. I visit the USA to go to exhibitions, and my contacts tell me that the millions spent on converting these exhibition centres into hospitals, and they're barely in use. There's literally just a few people in there, relatively. You know, they can take thousands in there, and there's just a few people in them. So, you know, the government spent this money, so they were really convinced all these people were going to die, all these extra people were going to die. They must have been, because they wouldn't have spent the money otherwise. So, I mean, I thought the government, you know, I think that some of the government people are part of, and probably their advisors are, the people that work also for the Big Pharma. But the actual, you know, the politicians, they're just not very bright, actually, and they just believe the big pharma when they told them what their advisors, when they said what was going to happen. I've even got a contact who supplies specialist woods to coffin makers, coffins, yeah, all over Europe. And you would have thought if anybody was working extra to deal with lots of dead people all over Europe, it would be the people that supply the specialist wood to the coffin makers. Same message. It's business easier than normal, or slightly slow, if anything, if they had to be precise. The media here in the UK are still not claiming that people are dying from CV. They're just using the phrase they are dying with CV. What does it mean, dying with? They're going to die anyway, and so they're dying. They just happen to have CV. Why would they make a big deal about CV if the person was at risk? Because doctors admit that only people who are at risk of dying, I'll rephrase that, repeat it. Doctors admit that only people who are at risk of dying die with CV. So nobody dies of CV. They die as they would die. They just happen to have a test that shows, we know that the test for CV, in fact, it's all over the world, you know, they're not very reliable. So I'm told that everybody's just told to say they died with CV. Don't even bother testing whether they had CV, because they'd rather have all the figures really high and terrorizing, because that's what they're doing, they're terrorizing. I know people who are really frightened of this. When you walk along the street in the UK here, if somebody comes towards you, they actually cross over the road and won't walk past you in case they get CV from you. You know, people are very big shame anyway. So, as I say, the doctors are guilty, if you like, of claiming that everyone who dies has CV, because it is not true. It's just realistically not true. So, but of course it ups the figures so the media can treat it like a terrorist sport, and every news bulletin, so many people have died with CV, with coronavirus. Remember I said with, not from, not of. Anyway, I could go on about that, and I'm trying to calm out of it myself because I get tired of, frustrated, because I keep waiting. I mean, there are a few doctors standing up and being counted with this in the UK and in the USA, but they're being banned now off YouTube, and you know it's going to be very difficult. Cambridge University, in conjunction with the big pharma organisation, claim they're starting vaccine trials next week on 200 volunteers. All the doctors that I've ever heard talk about vaccine, they say, well, it's going to take at least 1 to 2 years. It takes a year just to make sure everything's safe and you know, tested before they start to try it on people. Wait a minute, this is just weeks into Corona CV, and Cambridge University is going to start trials on 200 people, and I don't think I would be one of those volunteers actually. But this talk in our media that we cannot ever travel across borders in future unless we have the mark of the vaccination. Is that what they call it? The mark of the vaccination? Or a certificate, whatever. Mark of the vaccination sounds better. And of course, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is the brave soul fighting the big pharma, demanding that they should not vaccinate anybody unless they can provide proof that they're safe. Is a very brave man, especially have the name Kennedy, because they have a habit of getting bumped off when they cross the deep state. But he's still fighting, and I don't know whether, he'll succeed. I hope he does. Would you get one? Would you get a vaccination? I would like to think I can find some evidence that they're safe. What they put in it, I'm not too bothered, because I'm not an at-risk person. I'm very healthy, super healthy in fact, and even if I had a vaccination, I would have been taking probiotics beforehand anyway to make sure that it didn't, my probiotics could keep me safe, and I would have all the nutrients that would supercharge my immune system, although I do anyway actually, so it's not really any different. But also I would go on a detox with various detox agents to make sure that anything that was in it, if there was a dreaded mercury that people talk about, then I would, I would have a mercury detox from my body. Anyway, we may have to have it. It's as simple as that. But please, if you do, I will be telling everybody how to take themselves away from being at risk of any side effect of it. I know people are demonstrating in the USA at the moment, only small groups relative to everything, and I hear they bringing out draconian laws in all countries. Actually, we've already got them. I couldn't walk out the street here now if a policeman told me to go back to my house and I refused. I could and would be arrested if they so chose. We've got pretty good police here, I have to say, in England. In fact, at our warehouse yesterday, a policeman and policewoman came in just to, say, hi, how's things going on, whatever. And they were looking for things they could post on the Facebook for this area. And so when we said we create vitamins and minerals and various things, they took photographs of them with the magazine, and they've been posted on there. I've not had a link yet, but I should be getting a link. So it just shows you how the police can vary, in different places. But doctors around the world, many doctors are claiming 100% or near 100% success rate treating the at-risk people, the people with lung disease and heart disease that are the ones that are dying. So even the people that are dying now can be treated so they don't die, and they're using vitamin C intravenously, vitamin D3, iodine, sodium bicarbonate, magnesium, ozone, and even hydrogen peroxide. Now, nearly 30 years ago, Anne and I used to have hydrogen peroxide intravenous just for good health. It's just part of our plan. But many years later, we turned over to ozone intravenous. And so the only things we have now really are vitamin C IV with sodium bicarbonate, of course, and ozone. But the doctors around the world, the ones that care, are actually doing some great things. And but of course, you just don't hear about it. In fact, if those same doctors went on YouTube, Google or YouTube and said what they're doing, they risk being banned, because that is against what the World Health Organization are saying. But Public Health England, the public body that is responsible for the health of the nation, have just updated their advice. And they now say that everyone, not just people at risk, which they used to say, but everyone should take 10 micrograms of vitamin D3 to help protect them. Now, I know you don't know what 10 micrograms of vitamin D3 means, but it means 400 IUs. Now, when I was 2 years of age, back in 1948, the government brought out a scheme giving us vitamin D3 liquid and vitamin C liquid free to all young children to keep them safe. And that went on for 7 years, I think it was, before it was stopped by the next government that got in. And the amount of a teaspoon of cod liver oil would deliver something like 1,000 IUs. And this is for babies. I would give literally a few day old baby 400 IUs of vitamin D3 in drops. In fact, now some paediatricians are recommending this because they realise that mothers have not been taking D3. They've not been going out in the sunshine because people have said the sunshine is our enemy, because we should be getting D3 from the sunshine. And so now advanced paediatricians are saying, give babies, not long after they're born, D3 drops. And they'll probably be getting 400 to 1,000. That's just a little baby. So do you think I should only have 400 IUs? Because that's what Public Health England are saying. I take up to 30,000 IUs a day. Summer and winter, actually, I take mostly in the winter that much, when it's still winter here and I'm really so busy. I really am busy, starting at, 5:30 this morning, and it's, 7 at night actually here in the UK. And those are the hours I work. I'm too busy to sunbathe, but I normally would sunbathe in the day. I would just, at lunch, I would have an hour or two in the sunshine, whenever there's sunshine around. But 30,000 IUs of D3 I take, because 2 hours of sunbathing, just around midday, would deliver up to 40,000 IUs. So we can get that much from the sunshine anyway. So, as I say, Public Health England, in their wisdom, said we should take 400 IUs a day, ignore them, and take up to 30,000 IUs. I told you before that YouTube has banned anything that World Health Organization doesn't agree with. Everything's becoming a Nazi or a communist, and I won't use the word socialist, because socialist is different than communism. Communism is just another fascist name organization, because they just want to control everything and everybody. And I'm, if you like, by nature against such things. Okay, next bit of news. Amazon has banned serrapeptase. Now, serrapeptase is something that I introduced to the world in 2000. I'd found it being used in Europe, actually, by doctors and getting great results. A friend of mine in San Diego recommended it. I look at this, and he got some made up, and we gave it to people, and people started giving fantastic reports. So I launched it and wrote the book, The Miracle Enzyme, because it was so good. Now it's sold all over the world, but it's not sold easily. And Amazon has just banned serrapeptase from all its sites because the European Union has told them they have to stop selling it. The European Union is run by a fascist organisation that is not elected. They're self-selected. They support themselves. The politicians from around Europe elect them, but not the people. So the whole thing is run by them. They have something they call the European Parliament, but it's just a rubber stamp organisation. They're given $200,000 a year to keep quiet this, all the supposedly members of Parliament there. So we're banned from all of Europe. Obviously, all my sites around the world still sell it, but and it's sold on Amazon in the USA, but not in Europe. This is all. These little nibbles away from freedom are just all going. You can't walk out of your house anymore so easily. Just everything. And I wouldn't mind, but I don't know whether any of you guys have noticed this, but there's an awful lot of people who are swallowing this. They actually believe it all. And you've only got to sort of, do something and tut, don't you should keep your distance. And, people are starting to, that's how Nazi Germany got going. They told all these lies to the population and they believed them. They believed that, that Jews were the cause of all their problems. They'd stolen all their money or whatever lies they told them. And it's dangerous times. But as I said before, the death rates has not changed whatsoever. If you take the average of the last 5 years and look at this first 4 months, there's no more people dying and slightly less compared to some years. And so, we've just got to not believe really what the medical system says. Isn't that crazy? Do not believe doctors, do not believe the medical system, do not believe the politicians when they say we have a serious situation on our hands. It's just, I feel crazy saying it. That's why I say I'm a little bit tired of talking about all this anyway. We've got to ask ourselves, these questions I saw from What Doctors Don't Tell You, which is a magazine that we support. And you've got to ask yourself, how do the current death rates overall compare to the overall death rates in prior years and prior months? And do these rates differ from deaths from seasonal flu? I say they don't. But you ask yourself the question. And the second question is, in the absence of any medical solution like an effective antiviral or vaccine, because they don't exist, why are doctors not allowed to experiment widely or being recommended that they do it with intravenous vitamin C? I've said what doctors are doing, but they're not. These other doctors are doing it very quietly, and they might disclose it when they're asked, but they're not really shouting it loud. Why not? Why not? Why is your government not saying all doctors, give them, we haven't got solutions at the moment, people are dying. They're not really, as I say, because I don't really, but the government should at least be saying it, give them vitamin C, because this is in the media, it's in the news, I see it in the newspapers. Doctors in New York giving vitamin C or vitamin C, as we say in the USA. Just a few doctors in private practice. China was really big on it. They were giving vitamin D3 and vitamin C intravenously, and also beta-glucan, which is an extract from mushrooms or oats, and that's really good at boosting the immune system. But number 3 is the worst of all, but everybody knows this now. Why are so few journalists why are few journalists, I should say, not investigating many known virus killers like vitamin C, ionizers, iodine, ginkgo biloba, but why are they discrediting them? Every newspaper, every TV program, they're just saying, don't listen to people when they talk about these fake treatments. We know they work. The doctors that do it say, I'm getting nearly 100%. And from my newsletter this week, I just want to read what somebody said. this guy, Eric Young, left a public 5-star review, and this was, he clicked it to publish it, so he is happy to share it far and wide. It's in the public domain. Eric says, I'm an 81-year-old and in 1996 was diagnosed with prostate cancer, 1996, for which I had radiotherapy and hormone treatment. I also have bilateral nephrostomy drains on the kidneys as a consequence of loss of kidney function. Eric says, the past year I have been admitted to hospital on many occasions, often in a medical emergency. I have had numerous urinary infections, sometimes resulting in serious sepsis incidents, which could have been fatal. Over the last few years, my cancer has become recurrent, and in January 2019, 1996 he got this, 2019 is still not getting any treatment from the medical system. My PSA had risen rapidly from 7.1 to 1 to 424, and the cancer spread to my bones. My wife and I were absolutely shocked and did not know what to do. Unbelievably, I had no oncology or urology consultants. That might have saved your life, actually, Eric. Right, I think I've jumped a page here. Okay, I think I'll make it that way. Okay. I missed a page, but I'll just carry on this, actually. It's a long page anyway. So he goes on to say that his wife picked up one of my Natural Healthy News magazines in a shop, and it just so happened he was reading it, and it had an article about cancer in there. So he contacted Good Health Naturally and the coaches and got on the plan, and the plan was the full plan, including Cure C, Serenol, the Krill Miracle, Prescript Biotics, Active Life, Curcumin X4000, Natant Iodine, B for Health Spray, Vitamin D3, K2 Spray, and of course he followed the plan in my book, as he says here, together with the incredible benefits from Robert's advice regarding the many advantages of taking sodium bicarbonate daily. Can I tell you, sodium bicarbonate is just critical for everybody, healthy or unhealthy, because it is just an essential nutrient in our body. I would not normally be able to afford all these supplements, but only due to the special offers and generous discounts because of Robert and his amazing products on 12th of February 2020. That's a year after he started on the plan. My PSA had dropped to from 124 to 6. It was inconceivable, but we could not believe it. I cannot find enough words to thank Robert for saving my life, not only from the cancer, but from all of my other serious health issues. It was such a huge miracle. In the 24 years that I've been taking natural supplements, I've never come across such an outstanding, reliable and caring company. The products are exceptional and the staff knowledgeable, efficient, always polite, delivery is always fast. Often the next day. Thank you again, Robert Redfern. Well, to be clear, I don't think it's a miracle, because it's just what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to eat a perfect diet. We're supposed to have sodium bicarbonate. If you ate lots and lots of green vegetables, you would have sodium bicarbonate in those, but we don't. And so some people, in fact, I had a story from a lady that lived during the Spanish flu in 1918, and she was 101 when she was interviewed, and she said, nobody died in my village at all of 200 people. And she said, I think it was because in our village it was common for everybody to have a teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, in a glass of water every day, the first thing. And so it's not a miracle when you get healthy. It's a miracle if you got healthy from doctors, because you don't get healthy from doctors. But you can do if you follow the proper nutrients, the proper diet, the proper water that you should drink, everything. And so that's what keeps me going. And I will keep going, and I will do everything I can to keep going. I don't care whether Amazon bans things. I don't care whether YouTube and Google bans things. I will keep going, and if you need help, then you know where you can find it. So this is Robert signing off, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.